Alright, so welcome back into another Dragon Ball Super Card Game video. This one is the second video out of the three that I'm going to be doing that is going to be under $60. I might do this for something else, but right now it's all focusing on the celebration of set 10 basically, and all the starter deck stuff that goes with it. And yes, the starter decks, I didn't mention in the last video, but yeah, the starter decks came out a long time ago, but I was a little lazy, but we're doing it now. So today we're going to be doing Vegeks, which is probably the best one out of the three on a budget level. I might have to test both of them or all three of them a little bit more in order to decide that, but I think Vegeks is probably the most straightforward one I can recommend. So again, these videos are directed to more people who want to go into the archetype at a cheap basis, or a cheaper level I should say, or if you're completely new to the game, right? If you're completely new to the game, or if you're trying to see what you're interested in, this is more of a mid-range to aggressive deck in which you play a lot of different things, you swing a lot of different times, and you just end up having a board as long as they don't remove it, which I'll talk about a little bit later, and just overwhelm the opponent while keeping your life high and trying to play things for free, which is what Vegeks wants to do, right? And I think, again, overall, this is probably the strongest one. If you didn't catch the previous one, which was with Vegito, that's more for control, more hand destruction, more of that nature. And as we get into this one, again, being under $60 is kind of rough. And I will not guarantee that this will be under $60, but at the time of me building it and recording and things like that, this is under $60, right? I would say around $60 is probably better. But before I begin, if you want to see the other decks, not only for the budget, but other breakdowns and things like that, definitely subscribe. If you want to buy this deck or anything else like that, and if you want to follow along with the list, both use my CCG link in the description below, and as well as the Shenron Lair or DBS decks link to kind of follow along with myself in the description below, or in a comment, because I know someone's gonna be in the comments saying, where's the list? And I'm like, I said it, and you can always check the description if you're ever confused about that. Let's get into it. This one is, again, Vegito or Vegeta, and as well as Trunks Zeno, which turn into Vegeks on the Awaken side. Now the unawakened side says you can only play mono black battle cards, which, by the way, I haven't said this before, but it says mono black battle cards. In any case, like, there's multicolored black battle cards in the future, like, I don't understand. But that's very important, because you can't actually play anything red, blue, green, yellow, whatever, but you still can include it in your deck. It just means you can't play it, right? You can only play black battle cards, right? The activate main is that you burst 5, which is quite a lot, right? But you then draw 1 after that, so basically you're milling 6 per turn, and this is a good thing with all the free things that play from the starter deck. And the Awaken is that if you're 4 or less, or if you have 20 more cards in your drop, which means you can awaken more than 4, you either draw 1 and untap 1, and then add cards up to 6, which is pretty similar to Topo, which is irrelevant. But if you are at 8 and they're stalling you out for some reason, which is just not going to happen nowadays in this format, you get to awaken at 20 and drop, and then you get to take 2 if you're at 8, right? The Awaken side is that the same thing, but the sparking is that if you lose your game by running cards out of your deck, you shuffle your drop area in your deck, and then you continue to do so, or you do whatever you need to. Now, one thing to know about this, which I went over this in a real video, I do believe, is if, let's say you have 4 cards in deck or 3 cards in deck, right? You activate this main, which says draw 1, then place the 5 at the top of your deck in your drop area, and then you choose up to 1 of your Black Unison cards and gains double strike, which is really good, by the way. The process is that if you have 3 cards, you draw that 1, you have 2 left, and then you mill 2, right? You place it in a drop, and then you shuffle your deck back into itself. Now you have whatever you put in your drop, which I assume is like 40 cards or something like that. And then you mill the remainder, which is what, 3, right? So draw 1, mill 2, and then mill 3 more after you shuffle it in. So it's very important that you understand that. It's always going to be in the rule book. Well, yeah, it's going to be in the rule book if you ever need to know about that. But there you go. Now the leader itself is pretty busted because of the stuff that you play for free, which is the Time Agent Vegeta, Time Agent Trunks, the 1-drop Supreme Kai, and the Gotens. All of them are free if you mill from the drop to your, or from your deck to your drop. nowhere else, right? So if you pitch it to your drop or whatever, or they blow it up to your drop, it doesn't come back for free, right? It's only if you from the drop or the deck to the drop, which is why the burst 5 on both sides, which if you're awakening, you're gonna be bursting 10, is super important. One thing to know is that the Time Agent Vegeta and as well as the Time Agent Trunks are both unique cards, which means you can only play one on the field. The opponent's gonna know this, which if they're smart, they're gonna leave those cards on the field as long as they can defend against them, or both effects aren't really gonna be too important to them. But both of these cards are super good. Like honestly, they're super good. Unlike these guys, you can well, one, you can only play one unison, so I guess this has unique as well. But if you ended up I don't know, you probably wouldn't do this. You probably wouldn't -4 and drop it itself. But if it ended up dying and then you mill one or mill another, then you'll be able to go ahead and play one. But if you mill multiple of the 1-drops, let's say your deck got stacked and you mill like 3 of them, you get to play all 3 onto the field, because it says if you lead cards a black Saiyan, when it gets milled out, you may play this from your drop area. And of course, the auto says, while we're still here, if you have 5 or less in your hand, this becomes a 10k combo essentially for free, which is going to be more often than not in this deck. You're not going to have a huge hand size, which is fixed at the highest level, which we'll go into in a little bit. But I think that's super important to know. And going back to these cards, so Time Agent Vegeta is you play it for free and then activate main, or activate battle, should say. So during the combo phase, you get to pay 2 and then warp a 3 or less onto their from their field into the warp, right? Which is super good, because like if you don't have any other play, like you're on the play, you charge 1 energy, they charge 1, you're off the play. Or actually, let's say this: if you're off the play, they charge an energy, you charge an energy, you play a 1-drop, whatever. They pass, they have 2 energy, they play a 2 cost without barrier. It goes back to you. You mill it, now you pay 2 energy, now you get rid of their threat, etc. A lot of the time it's going to be, I would say, things that hurt the deck, such as Black Power Mass Saiyan, or anything else that kind of you should KO, like the 1-drop Frieza that you pay 1 energy and you minus 10k. Those are things that you really don't want on the field, which Time Agent Vegeta and his Will's Crisis Crusher are going to take care of. So that's really good for cheat removal, which this deck definitely lacks. That's the biggest issue with this deck, is that it does not have spot removal. Basically, you're gonna have to swing into a lot of things, which is the thing that you probably just have to look into as far as options go. Now we have Time Agent Trunks, which is basically a blocker, but you also get to play the card, or when you do play the card for free or for whatever, you're never gonna pay 3 for it, 3 energy, but you get to play it for free, and then you get to take a life from your hand if you'd like. So early in the game, if you're at 6 life and you're awakened, or if you're not awakened and you want to take more life and you know they're not going to be swinging at you, this is a really good card for that. Plus it's a blocker. There you go. Make sure to use the blocker more often than not, so that way if you mill it out later into the game, because of the unique tag, you get to have another blocker. You don't have to worry about that. The 1-drop Kai already kind of went through, and now the Gotenks is great, because it basically, if you mill it out, you put the play for free. But if you have it in your hand, you get to pay literally 1 energy or up to any energy that you want to. I would recommend 1 energy because it is a +2 marker. I generally pitch the Super Saiyan Trunks, we're gonna take a look at in a second, or one of these guys, which if you already have one in your battle area and you can't play one anyway, or one of these guys, even though you can uptick, you might as well just go ahead and just pitch 1 and get 2 markers. So this guy, the Super Saiyan Vanilla or itself are going to be the targets for you to pitch. So that way you can go ahead and get that 10k power, which is a 15k attacker, and then essentially 3 markers as soon as you play it. So pretty dang good. So for free, you get 1 marker. For 1 energy, you get 1 marker, and then you get to pitch a card, and now it gets 3 markers in total and a 15k attacker. Now the Goku stuff in the Krillin lineup is pretty cool. I think you should play 4 of these, but due to the budget, you really can't do that. But we play the 1-drop Negate, in which has a 0 cost common power. This one does too. You have to keep in mind for both of these guys. But this guy, you pay 1 energy on their turn, you get to counter attack. Cool. The Crisis Crusher is really good in this deck, and it's probably good in any Vegeks deck, because since you're playing for free, the 1-drop Dark Power Black Mass Sand says you have to pitch 2 cards if you play something 15k or less for free or buy a skill, and this gets rid of that pretty much every single turn. Plus, it's going to be a target for the Saiyan Transcendent, I can never say that word, to evolve on. You warp the card for 1, and then you get to go ahead and evolve on top of these guys right here. You can't do it on this guy, but it's really good for late game removal, because you get to pay 4 and then you get to warp something. It's a 20k double striker, and for 1 energy you get to, if you don't see the Crisis Crusher, or if you can't play it, because Crisis Crusher says if you have no battle cards, you get to pay for 1, otherwise you have to pay 3 for it, which you don't want to do. You get to pay 1 from your hand, send it to the drop, and then you get to warp something 2 or less from their field, which is really useful. Now the Saiyan Transcendent, the ISR Goku, is a double striker for 1, but you just can't play anything from your basically your drop area, or not your drop area, but if you have 3 or less energy, basically you can't play it. So turn 4 is going to be the best time to play the ISR Goku. Best thing out of this deck, I feel like, because I just keep playing them apparently, is the vanilla stuff, in which the Train Building Krillin says you can play a 2 or less vanilla from your drop, and then you get to minus something 5k on their field, which ends up being a lot of like Crisis Crusher stuff, blocker stuff, things like that. Like it's super useful. For instance, I was playing against Green Gohan, shout out to Joel, in which he played the 1-drop Krillin. It's a 4k, I do believe, like it's 4,000 less, 5,000 less, one of those. The 1-drop Krillin, and then playing this, you get a 20k body for free, well, for 2 energy, I guess, and then you get to minus that, so that way they don't have a blocker anymore, and now you have 2 attackers of 15k and 20k. Cool thing about this is that you shuffle your deck, and when you do shuffle your deck, well, 1, you burst, so the Super Saiyan Trunks is always going to be in your drop one time or another, like in the first 3 turns. And then when you shuffle back in your deck, you get to go ahead and loop both of these things, because it's eventually going to go back into your hand, right? So overall, I think you have a pretty good lineup of playing a little bit of mid-range, killing off 1 to 2 drops here and there, and as well as Time Agent Vegeta. You get to have these guys to play multiple battle cards overall. You get to have this guy as a win con as well. And then we have the tech options, in which the Majin Buu Human Extinction Attack helps you awaken early game and protect you and go for game, because it is a 15k combo, as long as your leader card is black, which it is. And if all of your energy is black, you get to choose one of their battle cards in their drop area, which helps a lot in this meta with Draw Apes and Frieza, you know, trying to get from their drop and play it and do all these other shenanigans, and then send it to their warp. And then also you get to place up to 4 cards from your top of your deck in the drop area. So on their turn, you get to have you potentially are able to get the Trunks blocker. You're potentially able to play another card for free. You're potentially able to prevent their plays on their turn, or even on your turn for their next turn, right? So this card does a lot. You only play 2 because of the budget. I would recommend probably 3 or 4, even in Vegeks, even at its highest level. I really like this card. It does a lot for you. And then Power Burst gets back your 1-drop negate. Also gets back, I do believe, the 1-drop Kai. So that way you have combo power, and that way you also have a negate. It sort of loops over and over, because again, you're going to draw into the Power Burst, so it's just better that way. It's just really cool. And of course you get to take life. So turn 1, you get to take life if you need more cards from your life, and also plus afterwards, because you get that 1-drop. The Champa is really important, because with Kai, the 1-drop Kai, you get to dump your hand, play the Kais, get a 0-cost 5k, and then Champa, and now you have double strike on pretty much any card. It's just really good for game. And now I accidentally put this over here, but it is still a tech option. Just like I said, you get to KO 2 or less. But these 2 guys, the 2 Foos, the Dark Banisher, I think is pretty good. I don't think it will end you a game, but it'll definitely progress it in the way that you want to. I don't like Overwhelm, so that's why both of these, well, I don't like Overwhelm in this deck anyway. That's why both of these are higher costs at 4 and 6. Shrouded means you basically win the game at 6 energy. As long as you build a board, you have a 30k double striker, and they don't get to activate effects. And then this guy, you get to have a triple attacker in which they have to warp 1 every single time. And overall, I think both of these guys are really good win cons outside of your Unison, in which, again, your leader card, after you activate main, give it 20k, 25k power. Now you have a dual attacker, 25k, double striker, which is more often than not going to be the best option for you to go for game. Because over and over again with these free things, with your leader, with these Super Saiyan Trunks, and etc., overall, it's just you poke and prod, and then you finish the game with one of your win cons, whether it's the ISR over here, or one of the Foos, or your Unison. So overall, really like the deck. It's awesome as far as budget goes. When it comes to upgrading the deck, you have a lot of options in which you can add in the Gokus, which originally I was going to do, but it's just too expensive, honestly. It's just bad. And it'll help you not only play a 3-drop instead of playing the Krillins for the 2-drops, which you still can, but also the 4-star is going to help both the 2-drop vanilla and the 3-drop vanilla for being basically a free 10k combo on either turn. And then we also have the draw apes. I can't stress this enough. Like, Vegeks really likes having the draw apes because, again, you get to loop them, you get to pay 2 cards, you do everything for free basically anyway. So 2 energy is not going to be that big of a deal to draw 2 cards and keep your hand high. Plus, you get to pitch it with the Unison effect. You burst it with the leader. There's so many other things. It's just the draw apes are super important. They're just so expensive. Hopefully the reprint is going to be really good for it. That's all I can say. Koitsukai is really good because you get to pay 1, you remove from your drop area from the game, you draw 2 cards, you get to ditch any of these 0-cost combos, and put it in the deck if you want to, and get it for the Kidku. But also you get to prevent them playing Topo or things like Arrival, things like that will kind of hinder your game plan from attacking quite a lot. I think even mainboarding this and Vegeks is probably good. That's just me, but they have to warp 2, so 3 for Topo basically that they have to pitch, and then probably at least 3 for Arrival too, because they have to combo 1. Well, 4 because they have to Arrival after that. So it makes decisions for the other opponent, depending on what their deck is, pretty difficult, and it's super important to have that in there. Hatching is cool because you get to return cards to your deck if you're needing to see things. I don't really know what to say, but it is good for removal because you get to swing a battle card that's in rest mode, and then you get to swing, put it back into active mode. 25k is awesome. Plus, you get to play this from the drop area for 3. That's pretty much it. I don't know what else to tell you. You get to also mill. So the top 2 cards from your deck, and now you get to do all those other things. The original Vegeks deck profile had this stuff in it. Again, I don't really like Overwhelm, but if you are going to do Overwhelm, the Trunks for 1 for 3 Overwhelm, you get to play this guy. You pay 1, you play this guy, and as well as you play the card that's not on here, which is the Black Power Mass Sand, the 3-drop that is critical, and you swing. As long as you don't do damage, that means if they block it, that's the only thing that does work if they block it. But if you swing and you basically if they out combo you, you get to do damage to them. If they do not combo you, you just basically crit them. So it's just really good. It's just all about getting these Black Saiyans into the drop, which you have quite a lot of them. But that is another target for this guy. That's just something to keep in mind. This guy gets to warp 1 after you play it, and then you also get to take 2 life, which your life is going to be pretty high, and then you get to warp 1 of theirs. So it just evens out quite a lot, and you can get a lot of firepower just in general, because this just gets to play it, and this is like 1 for 1. Like for 2 energy, you get 3 cards, and that's pretty sick. And then finally, the SCR of choice most likely is going to be this card. I think Black Smoke is really good. Demigra is really good. But I think for what this does, in which it's a triple striking 45k, you draw 2 cards, you untap 2 cards, and then they have to choose 2 cards from their hand and bottle cards and sort into the warp. It does a lot, and for a mono black deck, it is perfect, especially for going for game overall. It's basically a 3-class secret, and I can't stress it enough how good it is. But the last thing I want to do before I close out this video is to show you the mulligan, since I don't really have any gameplay. So let's go to that. All right, so we're on untap, which I'm gonna let you know now. Before I was recording this, I definitely got untapped, which means I got like a bunch of the same things in the hand. So it's gonna be varying of what you see online and versus what you see like in like actual shuffling and stuff like that in person. So take this for what it is, but I will let you know what you should mulligan for. Let's say we're going first. Okay, that's not too bad. So if we're going first, we probably want to get things that should be in the deck back into the deck, and of course these things that shouldn't be in your hand. And one of the things I didn't go over is Bibbidi, which it should be self-explanatory how busted it is in this deck, in which you get 1k combo power for every card that's in your drop and your warp. And in this deck, at the end of the game or towards just before you shuffle everything back into your deck, it is super important, or super strong for go over game, for defending. One simple Bibbidi combo with like 30 cards in your drop can account for a huge amount of combo power for them. So I apologize for not going for it, but that's kind of self-explanatory. So we're not going to be using this so far. Not going to be using this. This needs to be in the deck to be milled, and this needs to be deck to be milled. So hopefully we'll see one. So turn 2 we'll be able to use Krillin. What you want to mulligan for is most likely things you can actually use. So a Black Unison, or even a Crisis Crusher. So hopefully we get a Crisis Crusher. Doesn't look like it is, or we will be getting one. I'm gonna go ahead and charge this simply because we're not gonna be playing it. And I'm gonna go ahead and burst. So we're gonna do the activate main. So burst 5, right? And then we draw one first before we take a look at anything else. But we do get to play the Time Agent Vegeta. So unfortunately we couldn't play like a Crisis Crusher, which is what you want to do. We also want to go ahead and play something like the one, like I said, the Black Unison. Now the other thing is that you do have a 1-drop negate, so you could use that in case they're getting a little aggro. But let's say they went ahead and swung and you took the life of the leader. That's no problem. Cool. All right, thanks. I'm gonna go ahead and take my turn now. Now, the next thing is probably this one I'm going to be charging. And then what you could do is probably swing and then combo this, you know, going for 10 for 10. Both are Chompas in the drop too, by the way. Thank you, Untap. But let's go ahead and burst 5 again, draw 1, and then we have this Kai, and then this Unison. So that's actually really good, because now we get add a marker. Now we go ahead and pitch this vanilla, add the 2 markers. Now we get to play the trading button Krillin. And now we have how many attacks? Quite a lot, right? So we have leader attack. We have this guy at 15k. That's another, that's second. A third attack with 19k, which is crazy. And then we have 15k, and then a what is this? A 5th attack at least with the 20k vanilla. So quite a lot of attacks on turn 2, and that's what makes this deck quite a lot. Plus we have some defense in this 1k power, or 1k this 1-drop 10k card, in which if we combo off like, I don't know, like this 1-drop or this 3-drop or this 4-drop, right? It just doesn't matter what it is. We'll be able to get take a hold of that. Otherwise, just normal combo power. And then we also have power burst, right? So this is what you kind of want to do until you get to that turn 4 play, and as well as Awakening. You just want to poke and prod and then end it where you want it to. So let's try it again. Let's go ahead and scoop. Let's go ahead and shuffle, right? Let's roll again. Hopefully we're going first. Okay, let's go in second. That's fine. So let's say we're going second. Again, we don't really want a lot of these things in our hand. So we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. 1 power burst is probably fine. There's not many targets that you actually need early on, but it's good to have a negate in your hand. Plus I don't really want to mill this. But I'm gonna go ahead and do that because early game is not that really important. Okay, so we do have a Crisis Crusher, which is nice. So let's say they went ahead and did your thing. Okay, cool. I'm gonna go ahead and draw. Thanks, dude. Let's go ahead and charge. And then first, you want to go ahead and use this Crisis Crusher. KO anything that they have for the 1-drop. And then we're going to go ahead and burst 5. Right? And the reason for this is because you have to have no cards in the battle area to do that. And that's pretty much it. That's all you can really do. You can go ahead and swing with leader. That's no problem. Cool. And did we go ahead and draw? I think we did. Yeah, we did. Wait, we did not. Let's go ahead and draw. Okay, cool. Thank you, Untap. Thank you, Untap. That's amazing. All right. So let's go ahead and swing. That's okay. Cool. Let's go ahead and pass. Fine. Awesome. Thanks, dude. You can't swing with 1-drops. You can't do anything aggressive. Let's say they went ahead and drew or swing it later. You can go ahead and draw from life. Let's say you combo this out so that way you have one at the drop for sure. And then we go ahead and untap, go back to our turn. We probably don't need 3 power bursts just yet. I hate charging the gates, but this is what it is. Let's go ahead and use the burst 5 again. And then we have a Trunks for free, a 1-drop Supreme Kai, and then let's go ahead and take a life. Why not? And then now, because we have that vanilla, again, we're gonna go ahead and do the thing that we did last time. It's not gonna be as powerful because we only have these kind of weenies, these 1-drops, and that's just gonna be variance. You know, it's just gonna be depending on what you see and what you get, right? And that's pretty much it. Did I forget to draw again? Oh, I didn't even wait. Yes, I did. Yeah, I totally forgot to draw again. So don't forget to draw. Okay, we got a vanilla. All right, so you kind of see the limitations of 60 cards or $60, but you kind of see where you want to do or what you want to do when it comes to the mulligan. And hopefully this didn't take too long. Hopefully this was kind of informative. I did play this for gameplay on my Twitch, which I'll put on the screen right here. Which there you go, it's on the screen right now. I forgot I put that in there, so check me out on Twitch or on here and subscribe if you're new. Let me know in the comments below what you think could make this deck even better. Let me know if you're brand new to the game. I'm more than happy to have more players and expand this game as much as possible. Hopefully all this was helpful. Hopefully I didn't rant too much, and I'll see you in the next one.